In this video, we're going to take a look at creating background ambiances for our game. We'll need both a rain ambience for the exterior portion of the game level and a hum ambience for the interior. Here you can see a couple of different techniques for creating an artificial rain ambience. We'll use a synthesizer in Pro Tools to create our hum ambience. Let's go ahead and switch over to Pro Tools now. Okay, so here we are in Pro Tools, and I've already isolated a couple of good sections from our rain recording session. Let's take a listen to these now. And those could both be useful. Before we make our choice, let's go ahead and put a high-pass filter on here to get rid of some of the low-end rumble. So I'll grab the EQ3 one-band, set the type to high-pass, give it a really steep Q, and bring the frequency down to about 200. And that really helps to clean it up a lot. So I think I like the second clip better, so I'm just going to get rid of this first one. So let's make this into a smoothly looping clip. So first we need to trim about a second off the start and the end of the clip so that we'll have enough material to make our crossfade. Then I'll zoom out a little bit, and now I want to duplicate this clip a couple of times. I can do that by going to the Edit menu and choosing Duplicate, or by pressing Command-D on the Mac or Control-D on Windows. And I'll duplicate a couple of times so that I have a total of 3 clips. Next, I'll Shift-click to select all 3 clips. Then I'll press Command-F on Mac or Control-F on Windows to bring up the Fade dialog. Note that because I have multiple clips selected, the Fade dialog opens in Batch Fades mode. And there's a couple of important settings here. You'll want to make sure that your link setting is set to equal power so that there won't be any drop-off in volume during the crossfade. Then under the Operations section, you'll want to make sure that Create New Fades is checked. Then you'll want to enter a pretty long value for the fade length, something like 1,000 milliseconds. Then go ahead and click OK. And you can see that the fades were automatically created. Now what we'll do is, using the selector, I'll double-click on the middle instance of the 3 clips. Note that Pro Tools automatically selects exactly half of the crossfade at the beginning and end of the clip. This guarantees that we're going to have a smooth loop when we play back the clip. Let's take a listen. Okay, so then our final step is to simply consolidate this clip. This will actually render the selected half of each crossfade into the final clip. To consolidate, you can either go to the Edit menu and choose Consolidate Clip, or press Option-Shift-3 on the Mac or Alt-Shift-3 on Windows. Now I can simply select and remove the first and the third instance of the clip, and what I'm left with is a perfectly looping background ambience. Alright, so now I'm going to take a second to bounce this over to another track in the session. Once you've bounced the EQ'd clip over to your bounce track, go ahead and give it its final name, which in this case is BG_rain.01. Alright, so now we're ready to move on to our hum ambience. So the first thing I'll need to do to create the hum ambience is to create a mono instrument track. And then I'll insert Expand 2 on the first insert of the track. If you're not already familiar with Expand, it's a great workstation-style virtual instrument that has thousands of really useful presets. We're going to go and look for a pad preset that might work well for our hum ambience. So I'll start with soft pads, and we'll try a few of these out. That's probably a little too busy. Go ahead and take a couple of minutes to browse through these and find one that you like. So I chose number 42, the Air Max pad. Let's take a listen to that one. So if you've got a keyboard, you could just play this and record it over to another track. But let's look at how to pencil in a note for those of you who don't have a controller. I'll enable the pencil tool, and if I click in the instrument track, it'll automatically switch me to Notes view, which will enable me to pencil in a long sustaining note. And what's neat about the pencil is it actually functions like a smart tool for MIDI. So once I've penciled the note, I can actually click on it and transpose it to another pitch. I'm going to take it down to a C1. Now we can just hit play to hear how this sounds. And you could add some more layers to this if you want, but we're going to go ahead and print this over to an audio track. Okay, so let's zoom that waveform a little bit taller here and take a listen to what we've got. First, I'm going to create a loopable section out of this, and I'm paying a little bit of attention to the rhythmic pattern, which has a cycle that starts and ends right about there. So I'll go ahead and trim that down, duplicate it out a couple of times, select all 3 clips, and open my batch fades dialog. And it came up with our previous settings, which are pretty much what we want. The equal power link setting, create new fades, and about 1,000 millisecond length. So now I'll double click on the middle clip with the selector and take a listen to the result. Okay, so that's sounding pretty good. Let's consolidate, and we can get rid of the other instances of the clip. And we'll check it one more time just to be sure. And now we can give it its final name, bg_hum.01. And now we're ready to export our backgrounds and try them out in Unity. All right, so I've already imported my backgrounds into the Unity project. Let's check them out. All right, so those are working pretty well.